Okay, Shalom. Okay, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. And salutations and peace and much blessings to the fellow laborer, hopeful elect, faith-based Israelites that are out there pushing this truth until the end. That are people of Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian descent. Okay, Israelite foreigners who Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is scattered amongst the heathen nations around the four corners of the earth, and live amongst the heathen nations and may look like the heathen nations, but are Israelites through their father's side. And you awkward, the woman that's humbling yourself, peace and shalom. Okay, hopefully you can read this on the screen here. Not sure I was going to play on the video, but hopefully you can read it. Get close to the TV if you can. And yes, this is real. And this is what our devil's planning. These devils planning is called it's a Freemason model that they live by. Order out of chaos. Order out of KO. Order out of KO. All right. Which again, these devils is creating the problem. And these same devils that's creating the problem are the same devil that's going to come with the solution to that problem. And this is headed, this whole thing, you know where it's headed to you lining your simple ass up and getting the charagma, or that C-hip, poked up your foolish ass, for not hearkening to the voice of the Lord. But listen there, legislation of the state of Idaho, which is a state clearly and obviously here in Babylon, okay, 67th Legislature, second regular session, 2024. In the House of Representatives, House Bill number 522, State Affairs Committee, an act relating to cannibalism, amending Section 18/5003 Idaho Code to provide that certain actions shall be considered cannibalism, and to make technical correction and declaring an emergency and providing an effective date. Be it enacted by legislature of the state of Idaho, Section 1, that's Section 18/5003 Idaho Code B, and the same is hereby amended to read as follows. 18/5003 Cannibalism defined. Punishment 1. Any person who willfully ingests the flesh or blood of a human being, or who willfully provides the flesh or blood of a human being to another person to ingest without such person's knowledge or consent, is guilty of cannibalism. Number 2, it shall be an affirmation defense to a violation of the provisions of this section that the action was taken under extreme life-threatening conditions as the only apparent means of survival. Wait, what? Unless it's cannibalism is punishable by imprisonment in the state prison not exceeding 14 years. Section 2, an emergency existing therefore. Section 2, an emergency existing therefore, which emergency is hereby declared to exist. This act should be in full force and effect on and after July 1st, 2024. So, meaning, in here in 2, it shall be affirmative defense to a violation of the provisions of this section that the action was taken under extreme life-threatening conditions as the only apparent means of survival. Meaning that in a situation where it's an extreme and you to live, it's okay to start eating motherfuckers. Esau crazy, man. Esau is crazy. Well, anyway, it's part of prophecy. It's part of the prophecies. It's prophesied to come here in Babylon. You know that cannibalism is going to be on a. It's. You know what? Let me say this. The scripture in and I'm trying to think and I think it's Jeremiah 49. Let's go to that. Let's go. I think it's 49. I'll find it if it's not. Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50. Let's go to 49. I thought it was 49. Here, let me do this. Is it one word? No. Here we go. For thou art my battle axe. Why did I forget that E? It's Jeremiah 51. Salaki. Now, check this out. Okay, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces the old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. Now, you see, what these people that they don't see is these men of the Lord that are going to be rising up, that's going to be given spiritual power. All right? And imagine in this time when all this wickedness is going to be taking place. Oh, we saw in the law, it's okay that we can eat people. If it's under extreme situations, we can cannibalism is legal. You know, imagine that state of mind. So the men of the Lord who's going to be given spiritual power, we're going to go around policing this place, man. And before we go up out of here, we're going to be doing some marvelous things. You know, and you see why now that the Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not leaving no one out, old, young. You don't give a damn if you're beautiful. You know, I mean, I've been seeing so many beautiful women doing some extreme foul things in these days. And then a lot of these men too, man. You know, and they teach their children so. When all this shit starts to pop off, man, when this great famine kicks into high gear, man, the ungodly are going to be just that, the ungodly. They're going to take that to a whole different realm that we never could have imagined. But we knew these things were coming because in this book, like the scripture says, this book is for learning, you know, the history, the past, things how they went down, all that, you know. So that moment and that period is coming where the ungodly is really going to kick this shit into high gear, man. You know, and they're all going to just lean on on what they know, you know, which is nothing but wickedness. None of them chose to learn the way of uprightness, the way of righteousness, the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, that's the mass majority of these Babylonians and these great Americans and these Egyptians, these nookers. Oh, man. I mean, you can look this up on yourself. You can look this up yourself. This is real, man. And that means this devil knows what's coming down the pipe. He's creating it. you know? And the higher you go up, these people, in, the scripture says that for Esau, he's a fornicator. He's profane. He's a profane devil, man. So you can't dismiss nothing, you know? You can't, oh man, you go to the comment boards, I pulled up a famine in America, a future famine in America, and there's a comment board where you can go to where people discuss these things. They don't see it coming, you know? Nor they don't see it coming, nor do they believe it can't happen, you know? And as the scripture says, here, let me grab it on. That scripture is in, I think it's Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 51. Let me see. They don't see these things coming. That's why it's going to be hell on them. They don't see these things coming. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, I don't want them to see it coming. Oh, this is it. These two things are come up unto thee, who shall be sorry for thee, desolation and destruction, and the famine, and the sword, by whom shall I comfort thee? There's another scriptures, these come with thee in there. Thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of the Most High. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunkard, but not with wine. It's like just TV. This damn TV. Hold on. Um, hmm. 47 and 8, 47 and 9. Here we go. Therefore hear now this, thou art given to pleasures, that dwelleth carelessly, that says in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Here it is. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee into perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. And it's the same thing with them passing legislation and this and that, you know. These people are crazy, man. You know, they trust in their wickedness. And as a matter of fact, not just that, they, you know, with them planning these things, they trust in these things. Wickedness. I mean, wickedness, man. Just manufacturing an actual famine to come in. And it's going to come in. They're going to execute this plan to its full, man. They trust in their wickedness. For thou hast said, none seeth me. They don't think them, you know, and listen, and the scripture says the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushai are 10,000 times brighter than that of the sun. So this devil can't hide no damn where, man. That thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. You know, just crazy, man. And like I said, when I pulled up on the comment board here, these people don't see it coming, nor do they believe it can come. You want to talk about the worst that's going to happen to these people, man. Hey, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he hates these people, man. He hates this place. Kura. Quora. It's Quora where they be having these discussions. Is there another one? I thought there was another one. But I think this is it. They don't believe these things can come. I mean, you just go through these comment boards, man. You mention anything like this happening here in Babylon, man. To them, it's comedy. That's what's wild is the last laugh. While the U.S. is very sustainable, under normal circumstances, yeah, it would be, but not anymore. And we produce enough food to export tons of it overseas, as well as throw much of it away. There's already a major famine of sorts going on as we speak. Large number of people live in food deserts without access to nutritious food. This means they live in areas where there are no access to grocery stores and that they may have reliable transportation to travel the distance needed. Food desert means they don't have the ability to get fresh fruits. Anyway, speaking a little common sense, but still, eyes are not open. The U.S. has a market system, meaning that it's super easy to prevent shortages. Not knowing and have no clue where I can single-handedly prevent food shortages in the U.S. It's really super easy. Look, I take some rice and place it on a shelf. Not knowing that he's going to lose his life over that rice. Again, these people don't know what's going on, man. A famine in America's future. This is another one. I've worded it in some other way, though. Hold on. Let me get a couple of precepts in a second. Look at here we go. Okay, so let's dive. Let's do this. Grab a couple more of these precepts. Most notably, 2nd Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. You know, again, Timmy and his neighbor Brian, they gonna go at each other, man. You know, for that apple. Betty Sue and Karen, they and their husbands, man, they gonna go at each other for that little bit of rice, man. You want to talk about, and they love their guns, and they bragged about their guns, man. They gonna get to use them, and they're not gonna be able to get to use them on the way they thought they were on an immigrant, a so-called illegal immigrant, or some nigga out looting. They're gonna use them on each other. Okay, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. But they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh. Cannibalism. and drink their own blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Woo! It's about to go down. So they make, you know, they're comforting you by, okay, if it's necessary, then go on and do it. Under extreme, what does it say? Under extreme, it says it shall be an information defense to a violation of the provisions of this section that the actions was taken under extreme life-threatening conditions as the only apparent means of survival. These devils, mainly Amalek, these motherfuckers are sitting back getting a hard on and watching, planning these things to happen, and then ultimately watching. You know when those buildings came down during 9/11. Don't you know when Amalek was? He had spots set up so he can entertain himself watching that happen. Oh, these devils is something. These devils is something else, man. You can't make this up. But hey, it's part of biblical prophecy that this thing has to take place. Okay? It is going to take place. Thou as unhappy shall come through the sea and receive plagues again, and in the passage they shall rush into the idol city and shall destroy some portion of thy land and consume part of thy glory and shall return to Babylon that was destroyed. Anyway. I got my point there. Let me find me another canopy. It's actually part of the curses. I remember a precept in the curses here. In the siege, remember the examples we had when Jerusalem was besieged and surrounded. There was one account where with the two women that ate one's baby, but they agreed to eat each other's babies, but they ended up eating one of them. And account where they were eating bird poop, bird dung, dove's dung. Here, I think it's a dove's dung. Let's just hit dung. It's not mentioned too many times. It's mentioned quite a few times, but it's not mentioned too many times. So I should have a problem finding it. And it was during Kings, possibly Numbers. Dove's dung, 2 Kings 6 and 25. Hey, this book is for our learning, man. And it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his host and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and a donkey's head, man. And a donkey, that's not lawful food to eat. And my point was, when I pulled up the video earlier, that we're going to be Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai's battle axe and weapons of war. A lot of those that's going to die, man, they're going to be in the midst of eating all forms of unclean, unlawful foods and committing all forms of ungodly acts to survive. That was the whole point of me bringing that out. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is just not going to give spiritual powers to men just to go out and just randomly kill men. And the precept for that is Ezekiel 9, where set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sign a crime for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, and to the others he said, smite them that have not the mark, something of that extent. So it says here, and an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. Mm, mm. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, they cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O power, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. Cannibalism. So, these people today are no different than the yesterday's people, man. As a matter of fact, they're the same ones. Reincarnation, we all come back, So it's going to get to this again. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her in the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. This is madness, man. So, cannibalism. It's coming. Don't dismiss it. Don't be a fool and dismiss this thing as like it's just a story. And when you're hearing that foolishness coming out a lot lately. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy power hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee. And let me do this. Deuteronomy 28 and 53. There's something I want here. You see why it's so important to pray every day. You see why it's important, to be more specific, to pray in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai every day. Why it's important to pray for forgiveness. Why it's important to pray for his tender mercies. And I mean every day. Every day. I mean, you want to be shielded in these days, man. You want to be protected in these days. Because this nightmare itself, man, is about to begin. This nightmare that we all have to go through. We all going to have to. Let me get the scripture and let me find this precept real quick and in Proverbs. It's in my Bible here. Let me jump here in Proverbs. Key Proverbs scripture. Wait a second, I'll find it. I can easily just look it up. But here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is why it's important. See, we're leaning on this. We're leaning on this. Because we know what's coming. We're leaning on this and we trust in this. Okay? Proverbs 18 and 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. And you have those groups, that big, gigantic, massive congregation, that massive group IUIC, Right? The name isn't heard nowhere amongst them fools, man. The name isn't heard nowhere amongst them fools. Nowhere amongst them fools. And there's an actual scripture. Give me a second. Let me think. Um, and I think it's in Ezekiel. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Speaking of the famine. Let me hit up famine. Hit up famine again. And let me go to, I think it's Ezekiel. Because Ezekiel went hard as far as going hard against these false prophets and these pastors and so on. Ezekiel. There's one specific one. Oh, here we go. Ezekiel 5. Ezekiel 5. I hope it's 5. It might not be 5. Hold on. Give me a second. No, it's not 5. Though 5 is fire. It might be. Hold on. Oh, it's fire. Hold on. But let me do this. I remember this is Ezekiel 5. I'll come back to her. This is one specific one. Was it Jeremiah? See, this famine is hardcore. It's mentioned a lot. Let's get back to this 5 here. Oops, Lamentation 5. Ezekiel 5. Thus said the Lord power, this is Jerusalem. I have set it in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her, and she hath changed my judgments into wickedness more than the nations, and my statutes more than the countries that are round about her. For they have refused my judgments and my statutes. They have not walked in them. The whole point was the name, calling on Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Therefore, thus said the Lord power, because ye multiplied more than the nations that are round about you, and have not walked in my statutes. You say, they love showing off them numbers. Neither have kept my judgments, neither have done according to the judgments of the nations that are round about you. Therefore, thus said the Lord power, behold, even I am against thee, and I will execute judgments in the midst of thee in the sights of the nations, and I will do in thee that which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more like because of all thine abominations. Therefore the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers. And I will execute judgment in thee, and the whole remnant of thee will I scatter into all the winds. Wherefore, as I live, said the Lord power, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all thy detestable things and with all thine abominations, therefore will I diminish thee. Neither shall my eye spare, neither will I have any pity. Ooh, I can continue on reading on. So amidst those groups, man, they're not trusting in the name. Proverbs 8 and 10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it, and it's safe. And again, the righteous, so you can clearly see that's a clear sign of who the righteous are. Ain't nobody righteous, man, that's calling on no goddamn Christ, man. Some Christ, or even referring to him as JC, Jesus Christ, man. That's not the tongue of the righteous. Those are tongue. That's the song of fools, man. So we trust in that name. We trust in that name. I mean, you trust. If you see what's coming, that's our only hope. When the scriptures tell you these things is coming, man, that's our only hope, is to call on that name. Yahweh was Yahweh Shai, to call on that name and to believe it. We have faith. That's our faith, man. That's where our faith base lies, within that name. So we trust in that name. So he's going to deliver a lot of those out of this. Again, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters, which the Lord thy power have given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee. They're coming. And the straitness, distress, stress, anguish. Okay? Narrow place, confinement or disability, anguish, distress, straitness. With the word straight, positions of difficulty. Straight. Not straightness, but straight. It's straight. Used in reference to a situation characterized by a specified degree of trouble or difficulty. Straight. So there is straightness. The devil created it, man. This devil who you love created it. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. So this famine, this is a vision of, a famine, man. Of the famine that's coming. Okay? You saw the scriptures, man. I love to see the faces of those that call this book a fairy tale and always refer to Yahweh Shem Yahushua as the sky daddy. They're saying that in a mockery form and as being, disrespectful and mockery and sarcastic. Man, it would have been better if y'all would have just kept your mouths shut, man. You know? It would have been better if y'all just kept your mouths shut. But y'all just want to be cute. When all is safe, he awakened and marveled that the fear was nothing. Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast. And that is sevenfold more upon sinners. That seven, which represents in its perfection, its complete perfection. At number 7, it says death and bloodshed, strife and the sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and discouraged. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sake the flood came. You see? One more and I'm out of here. So this is real. I would like to hear one of these devils give me their opinion on this. And these devils never come correct, man. They can never give you a straight answer, nor can they come in with wisdom when speaking on these things. So last scripture here, Second Ezra 16:7. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. But behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. That's at this moment as we speak, it's telling you that evils are growing, man. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall die of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Oh. And he got these things legislation written up, because he knows what's coming. These devils knows what's coming, man, because they're planning it. May Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bashim Rakaki Dash be with y'all. Elect, man. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.